everybody, it is Magic Prepper, and today we're going to talk about SHTF. Are we waiting for it or are we wanting it? Now, real quick, if you like videos about SHTF, prepping, or survivalism, hit the subscribe button below. It helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Now, I guarantee you there are a lot of people out there, especially preppers, who are going to say, obviously we're waiting for SHTF. We're not just expecting it or wanting it to happen or just waiting for it to happen. There's an idea that we feel it might eventually occur, so therefore we're preparing for it, and then we're waiting for that time to come when our preparations pay off. Now, that is the logical and the more sensical approach to that concept. However, a lot of people do feel like they want SHTF to happen. Now, I know you might not believe me because most people watching this channel are prepared. They're preppers. They're people who know how to take care of themselves. They're not in it to have this big cataclysmic event that resets the clock and gets everybody back on the level playing field. They're more just preparing to make sure their family and everyone they love is taken care of in case this scenario ever occurs, okay? So, there are a large group of people, you would be surprised, that actually want SHTF to happen. And why do they want SHTF to happen? There's a lot of videos and a lot of content out there that you can find that can kind of describe some of this. It's a human psyche issue. It's not about people who just want to see everything burn like the Joker in The Dark Knight, but it's about people who feel like they're treated unfair, like they were given a bad hand. They weren't dealt the right cards to start their life with, and they would love to reset and get people like you and I, maybe those who are more prepared than them, back on the same level playing field so that they can prove to us that they're worth the same amount as everyone else. Now, there are going to be some of you out there who have that little bit of a fantasy or a secret desire for SHTF to occur. You know, I mean, let's be honest. Most preppers have these prepper pantries and these bunkers and these arsenals and who knows what else. And man, wouldn't it be awesome that one day where you finally get to open that bunker up and grab your arsenal and move inside and really start living the way you've been preparing for this whole time? I mean, fantasy related, like the idea of it sounds like a good time, right? You're like, wow, invigorating, exciting. Who would have thought, that this would actually pay off? I knew it. So, of course, everybody has a little bit of an inkling of that somewhere in the back of their mind. I think anyway, okay? Let's be honest. But I think there are those who actually want this to happen because they think it'll be their time to get their shot. It'll be their time to shine. Hey, I can finally prove to everybody that I should be in charge, not you, because you know what? I'm just bigger, I'm tougher, I'm badder, and that's exactly what I'm going to start doing now that there is no rule of law. So, rule of law actually keeps a lot of those people in order. You'd be surprised how much more crime there would be if crime didn't exist. And when I say that, I mean the acts that people commit currently that would be considered a crime. When they're no longer considered a crime, those acts would increase exponentially based on the idea that nobody would be upset about it happening. So, SHTF is one of those things that once it occurs, there's not really an easy way to go back right away. And people have shown their ugly side very quickly in any other SHTF scenario that we've seen on a local or a smaller scale basis than what we're talking about right now. When you see events like hurricanes happen or anything like that, and people go crazy and start looting and hurting each other, I mean, that's just instantaneous human psyche. However, how many of those people are waiting in their homes or waiting in the ranks for that event to occur so that they can act that way? You see that whenever there's these riots. Generally, protests start first, and it's usually for a reason or a cause. Whether or not you agree with it, people are allowed to protest, and they go out and they state whatever their cause is. And that's great. It's part of being America, right? But there are those fringe element types who like to come and start a problem because it's actually what they've been waiting for. Like, here we go. Here's our chance. Protest is happening. Giant march on downtown. Time for me to go start wrecking stuff. And that's what they do. And they go out, they break things, they burn things, they make things happen, and nobody has a good time with it except for them. And that's what they want to have happen to the rest of us. They want to see the entire world turn into that so that they can finally live out either their darkest fantasies, or they can finally be top dog, or they can go back to the more, how would you say it, archaic style of living where the strongest one in the room gets to decide what everyone else gets to do. Not necessarily a dictatorship, but rule of violence, to be honest with you. And a lot of people feel like they could rise to the top very easily with that kind of a condition. And I don't think that's the right way to think, and neither should you. But I want you to think that there are people who exist that think that way. I don't want SHTF to happen. You don't want SHTF to happen. But those people really do. They want it to happen so that they can prove to you that they deserve to have what you have and you don't, okay? So, if you're watching this channel, you're probably a prepper. You're probably already aware of this. But maybe you're new to the channel and this is something you haven't thought about. Those are the people you're up against when this stuff happens. They might be preparing in a different way. They're preparing in a sense of saying what they're going to do when this happens. It's kind of like when you win the lottery. Here's my lottery ticket. What are you going to do when you have $1 million? Well, a lot of people love to fantasize about that. These same people do the same thing about SHTF. What am I going to do when there's no law, when there's no police? What am I going to do? You know, and they want to tell you about it, and they want to do it. But you know what? For right now, they're on the DL because they know they'll get in trouble if they think that way or if they act that way. So, that's your marauders. That's your people who are going to come commit violent acts on you and your loved ones. And that's what you have to understand. There's a lot of people out there that really do feel that way. Now, as preppers, the best thing we can do to prepare for that is going to be to make sure you have enhanced security, make sure you've taken care of your homestead properly to where you can be as self-sufficient as possible and not have to go interact or deal with those types of people when they're out there. And at the same time, knowing that that's the kind of people we're going up against already gives us the upper hand, okay? So, yes, there are people who want SHTF to happen, who are wanting it to happen, and then there are those of us who are waiting for it to happen. And I know I'm just waiting. I don't want it to happen. I have a family. I don't want to see them suffer. But at the same time, I think it's a good possibility that it will happen. So I'm waiting for it. I'm not just expecting it. I'm not denying it. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Because you know what? If I wait my entire life and it never happens, I'm not going to be upset about that. But the people who want it to happen will be upset if they get to the end of their life and it never happened because they never got to live out everything that they wanted to do that current society and rule of law doesn't allow them to do. And that's something that we have to consider because I think there's a lot more people who operate that way than what we even know, okay? So, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Hopefully you're in the waiting crowd. If you're in the wanting crowd, feel free to leave a comment below. Tell me why you want it to happen. And if you're in the waiting crowd, let me know what you're waiting for or how you're waiting for it, okay? And I really think that this community is awesome. There's some really good people around here. And I'm sure you guys have a lot to say and a lot to think about this subject in particular. So make sure you let me know about it. And that's going to be it for Magic Prep.